All right, everybody. So what we're going to be talking about now, we've gone through sort of the dramatic idea that often goes with so many key changes. If we're here and we're sort of life is going along, life is good, then we're down here. Where we can feel that we're going to change key, right? And that's the kind of key change that you're never coming back from. Sort of even more dramatic would be if we were here. Oh man, that half step higher key change, right? There's no coming back. We're going to talk instead here, we're getting into this idea of modulation, and a lot of the technique around modulation, which is not nearly as dramatic, comes from the keys that we use in this. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Let's see if we can get an understanding. And when we do this, what we're really talking about at the core here is what we call closely related keys. Closely related keys. And very simply, the definition here of a closely related key is that it's a key with a key signature difference of no more than one flat or one sharp. So these are keys that are really close. And of course, when we talk about that, we know that we've got all these different kinds of keys. So we're including both major keys and minor keys in this because, as we know, there are two keys for each key signature, right? So if I said to you, hey, what key is it that has 3 sharps as its key signature? Unless I gave you some clarifying sort of information, you wouldn't know if I was talking about A major or F sharp minor. They're both there. So we're including both major and minor in this as we talk about these closely related keys, all right? Now, right out of the gate, especially when we think about that major and minor idea, is the most obvious when we say closely related keys. That idea or that word related, relative, should stand out because we know that there are some keys that are so closely related that not only are they only one flat or sharp away, it's no difference between the two key signatures because of those relative keys that we really need to be thinking about here. Now, when we don't always get the benefit of having the relative keys to help us out, so we have to bring back an old friend, which is the circle of fifths. So we're going to think about our circle, and we're going to use the top of the circle with C major right on the top. No sharps, no flats, a really, really straightforward key, the people's key as I like to call it. And what we want to think about is which are the key signatures that are only one accidental away from C major. C major is no sharps, no flats. And so if we go into the sharp territory of the circle, we would get to G major, which has that one sharp key signature. And on the other side, we've got F major, which is one flat. So both F major and G major are closely related to C because they have only one accidental different in their key signature. And what we can hear is that these two keys are really, really great because, look, I just went from C major into G major, and it sounds so smooth because of the close relationship that they share. This is not at all that kind of like dramatic, big glitz and glamour kind of thing. This is the kind of key change that should be able to happen with hardly any notice, right? It should be just very smooth, very subtle because it's a modulation, not a key change. So we've got F, C, and G. Let's sort of keep following this rabbit hole. These are our major keys that are closely related to C major, but we already said we want to keep the minor keys in mind as well. And so from C major, our most closely related key is A minor, right? The relative minor of C is, of course, closely related to it because not only is it one or less, it's less than one sharp or flat away. It's no key signature difference. But this idea of relative minors continues even farther because we can use the relative minors of both F and G major to fill out our, what I call our network of closely related keys. So we can think about both of those major keys with one flat and one sharp and think about their relative minors, D minor and E minor. Now, right out of the gate, I think it sounds to us pretty straightforward and pretty unexpected that C major and G major would be easy to move between. They just sound like keys that are that way. But C major and D minor, I don't know. Right out of the gate for me, that doesn't feel quite as obvious, but it's right there. And if I'm here, I can very easily be transported into D minor without there being almost any glitz and glam to get me there. Same goes for E minor. So we've got this awesome network here with major and minor colors to easily move between without a lot of drama. And what we see, if we sort of represent these keys in a slightly different way, they actually form a really, really familiar pattern for us, because we think C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and A minor. These are the keys that are very easy for us to modulate to from C major, but also they're the chords that make up our key progressions, or our chord progressions, in C major, right? We're very used to, in the key of C major, having a D minor chord. And so what follows now is that the chords that we use in this key are also the keys that are really, really easy for us to modulate to. It's amazing. And really, look, it comes back to our favorite old friend, the C major scale. But of course, what note's missing that I just played that isn't in our network of keys? It's B. Why do you think B isn't a place that we can modulate to? Well, B major, for instance, is what's the key signature of B major? 5 sharps. That's very much not closely related to no sharps, right? B minor, even that's 2 sharps, right? Like if I'm in C, going to B minor, that does not feel like something that you could just sneak by on somebody. That's going to be noticed. So B is sort of a weird place. And part of that is because in the key of C major, B is diminished, right? And diminished is not really even a key. So I just love this parallel going all the way back to the major scale, that the notes of the scale become the chords in a key, and then even further down the line here, they become the places that we're likely to modulate to in a key. It really is kind of this amazing thing. We're going to look at what happens in minor next.